Hi, I'm Warren Sprouse. You're on the Bible Forum. We do this every Sunday night from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, where I discuss with you, the loyal listeners, things that are uh, happening in the world that might be of note for the Christian. Have you noticed in recent days, weeks, months, all of a sudden, there seems to be a resurgence of legalizing marijuana? We've been in this for several years. What was it? The fellow who was Speaker of the House, I think, representative from up in Midwest somewhere. I can't think. I can see his face. I can't think of his name. He's actually put money in. He's involved in business with people who are active in making sure marijuana is mainstreamed across the country. Well, most recently, the New York City Council has approved a bill that would block many employers in the city from forcing job applicants to undergo marijuana drug testing. This, according to the New York Times. New York City Public Advocate Jumaane Williams sponsored the legislation, and it passed last week with a vote 40-4. Now, the legislation is the latest in a series of moves to ease marijuana restrictions in the city. Efforts to legalize marijuana have kind of bogged down at the New York State level, but they will stimulate back up again. Many states have, I think it's 7 or 8 or 10 states have already legalized it. But Williams said, quote, "I'm proud that the city has taken action where the federal and the state government have stalled." Who would this bill affect? Both public and private employers in New York City, as well as employers with headquarters outside the city. If they do business in the city, but their headquarters outside. Williams told the newspaper that it's not clear just how many employers currently require drug testing, but at this point, it's not going to work in New York. The council also passed a bill that would prohibit marijuana testing for those on probation. You get arrested, judge puts you on probation, no drug testing. You can just go on and get high if you want to. Everything's fine. Because marijuana doesn't hurt anybody. Right. The Business Recorder is a publication citing the government-controlled China Daily, another publication in China, media outlet, reporting that a team of Chinese scientists found, after lab experiments, that rhesus monkeys got smarter and had superior memories as compared to unaltered monkeys. Now, how are they altering them? Well, the researchers edited the human version of a gene that they call the MCPH1. They took that from human beings and they introduced it into these macaws. The gene made the monkey's brain develop along more human-like timeline. The gene-hacked monkeys showed better reaction times and improved short-term memories in comparison to their altered peers. But geneticist James Sikela told MIT Technology Review that, quote, "The use of transgenic monkeys to study human genes linked to brain evolution is a very, very risky road to take." He says it's classic slippery slope issue, one that we can expect to recur as this type of research is pursued. The science and technology news site Futurism saw benefits, however, that the research would or could produce. They said while altering one gene to enhance memory in some macaws won't throw Darwinism off kilter. So there's no risk of a Planet of the Apes style uprising, at least not yet. And it could teach us how humanity became so intelligent and give us hints as to why. Now, keep in mind that the Bible already answers that question, that God created human beings this way, and that God created the animal kingdom that other way. In efforts to merge the two are destined to create all sorts of chaos. I actually believe that they will find some animals enhanced and will declare this a success. But nobody knows what the long-term effects are going to be. And mark my words, if they start doing it from human to animal, it isn't going to be long before they do it from animal to human. Have you got a job? There are a number of Americans filing applications for unemployment benefits. But the number that are doing that has dropped to a 49.5-year low. The reports came in last week as to who was looking for unemployment. The data pointed to sustained labor market strength that could temper expectations of a sharp slowdown in economic growth. Now you have to understand, the people who are warning us of the danger of a coming slowdown are people who do not like the Donald Trump or any of his programs or anything that he's doing. It is his initiatives, his leadership that has stimulated all this. That's a flash in the pan. Initial claims for state unemployment benefits fell 8,000 to a seasonally adjusted 196,000 for the week ending April 6. That's the lowest level since October 1969. That according to the website CNBC.com. The $64,000 question is why? And the simple answer is a profit-oriented president, as I told you. A man who is not swayed by the new ideas about economics and about human behavior. For the Donald, it's just old-fashioned capitalism. And old-fashioned capitalism has now got the lowest unemployment rate most of us have ever seen. And it happened in 2 years or less. 196,000 people sounds like a whole lot of people. It is nothing in light of the total population of this country. The American engine is more powerful than anything else in the world. And all you have to do is get out of its way and watch it work. It's called capitalism. And the world hates it. Why does the world hate capitalism? They love getting money from us. They love it that we can help them. But why don't they do what we're doing? The short answer is because capitalism turns the worker loose. And around the world, country after country after country wants to control the worker. It's not godly. If you were paying attention this week, you noticed that the international project involving telescopes across the globe hailed an event no one has ever seen before. They're calling themselves the Event Horizon Telescope people, company, or whatever, and describes itself as a virtual Earth-sized telescope. And they have announced the discovery of a black hole. You've probably seen it on news, or you've seen it online. You've seen pictures of this thing. We've been talking about black holes as long as I've been on the planet. The science fiction movies, stories, TV programs, and everybody are talking about black holes. You get close to a black hole, it sucks you in. A black hole is a region in space where the gravitational pull is so strong that not even light can escape it. Light is being pulled into this thing. Now, this is science fiction stuff. When I was a younger fellow and growing up, I just thought these are just people hypothesizing, and it's good for the movies and the stories and all that, but they're going to find out that this stuff doesn't work. Well, apparently they got one, and it does work. But the average human being doesn't understand anything about this. Even Albert Einstein, whose theory of general relativity made it possible to conceive of such a place, thought the concept was too bizarre to exist. Mathematically it exists, but it really doesn't. But here we're learning this week that Einstein was wrong. We're now looking at a black hole, admittedly from a great distance. Nobody wants to get near it. Expect them to send rockets out there to get a closer look, but they ain't coming back. The National Science Foundation explained it this way: black holes are extremely dense pockets of matter, objects of such incredible mass and minuscule volume that they drastically warp the very fabric of space-time. Now, you and I struggle with an idea that space and time, neither one of these are, things you hold in your hand, now being described as fabrics. But it's, you got to come up with something. They say anything that passes too close from a wandering star to a photon of light gets captured. Now, what constitutes too close? Most black holes are the condensed remnants of a massive star, the collapsed core of which remains following an explosive supernova. But this week, scientists have released the first ever image of a black hole, revealing the distant object in all of its stunning detail. Dr. Shep Doeleman, director of Event Horizon Telescope, explains that during a press conference, he said, "We're delighted to report to you today that we've seen what we thought was unseeable. We have taken advantage of a cosmic opportunity." Telescopes in Hawaii, Arizona, Chile, Mexico, Spain, and the South Pole all participated in this project. The black hole has a mass 6.5 billion times that of our sun, with a dark central region, which is the black hole's shadow. The black hole was spotted in a galaxy that is 55 million light years away. Now, if you're like me, I don't picture 6.5 billion times the size of sun, and I can't picture 55 million light years away. The object they're looking at, they have named Messier 87, in short, M87. The light year measures distance in space, and the light year is equal to 6 trillion miles. That's 55 million times 6 trillion miles from here. The example that was given says, if immersed in a bright region like a disk of growing gas, we can expect a black hole to create a dark region similar to a shadow, something predicted by Einstein's general relativity that nobody has ever seen before. It's all been on paper, it's all theory. The shadow is caused by the gravitational bending and capturing of light. This process reveals a lot about the nature of these objects and has allowed us to measure the enormous mass of M87's black hole. The shadow of a black hole is the closest we can come to an image of the black hole itself, according to telescope scientists. The black hole is a boundary. The event horizon from which the EHT takes its name, and is around 2.5 times smaller than the shadow it casts, measuring just under 40 billion kilometers, 24.8 billion miles across. NASA said that this black hole has been observed by several of its own missions. What does any of this mean? It means they're having fun. They're enjoying themselves. They're finding themselves surrounded by the reality of their theory. And it must be a marvelous thing. But they're still steeped in evolutionary thought processes. A black hole in space, whatever that is so far away from here that you cannot imagine the distance. And that is the size of our universe. Not the full size of our universe, but some part of it. When you see pictures of the Earth in the galaxy, the Milky Way and all that, and they show you what it looks like from outer space, we're just one little speck way off to the side of this huge array of stars and planets and asteroids and black holes and all these sorts of things. I picture the God of the universe, wherever he sits, if he sits, laughing at we puny human beings, thinking that we're so special. Take us out of our speciality and put us in space, and you couldn't find us. Have us try to imagine the width, the depth, the height, the volume of this universe, and we go crazy. There's no way to imagine such a thing. And the God we serve is the one who created it all and keeps it running. And there's the problem. That's why people don't believe in God. They believe in science, they don't believe in God. Oh, by the way, and this God has standards and holds people accountable. This God knows your every thought, the intent of your heart, what you are planning, what you might plan. He knows everything. And you say, there you go. That's why we don't believe you Christians, because you launch into these things that just nobody hey, nobody thought there was anything called a black hole either. Think about it.